Hello, we're back again, guys. The Trek Way, Mr. Grey, Trev. Hello, how you doing? We're almost at the
Howdy.
end, Grey. We're almost at the
It
end.
can't be. It's impossible.
Yeah, and I'm kind of glad because Lord Dex hasn't been great this season. But there's one episode to redeem that spaceship
Yeah, they've
arc
had
thing.
they've had a couple of really good episodes, but yeah, overall it just seems like it's not quite there like it was.
A bit meh.
The last. I don't know. I'm trying to think of it. Last season for sure. Maybe the season before. I don't know. I'm getting to think that if you take all 4 seasons of Lower Decks when it's all done, and you go back and make the greatest hits, you probably come out with 10 pretty good episodes.
Oh yeah, that isn't a
Uh,
problem. But you wouldn't get many, if any, from this season. That's the downside.
Right, exactly. Well, maybe one or two. But the point is, you probably could put together a good 10 out of, 40 episodes, right?
Yeah, you could. Yeah,
That's not a good ratio for Star Trek, but to be honest, but hey,
we need more. So yeah,
and that's
it's
what we can do when this season's over. We can go back and that's going to be a tough one. It'll take time to pick out the 10, but hey.
But we're so professional here on the Trekway that we know the exact dimensions of Gray's picture because it says at the bottom left.
Yeah, no, I have yet to
It's killing my
check that out.
OCD,
See
man.
it?
It's killing my OCD.
I know, I keep forgetting
And
to
you
edit
could
it out.
trim it
See
out
that,
a little bit
everybody?
because look at to the right of the Cerritos. There's a little bit of wiggle room there, so you don't ruin the aspect
Yeah,
ratio.
I know. But I like to
Anyway.
leave it there, drive you crazy.
I know he does. Yeah, sorry. So Star Trek Lord X, Season 4, Episode 9, The Inner Fight. This episode was slightly longer than usual. You probably noticed that, Greg, because it was setting up, which is, well, it's definitely a cliffhanger for next week. Hopefully it doesn't
Well,
end the season.
could have been worse. It could have been a cliffhanger for next season, and at the rate they're going, they might not produce
No,
the season for a long time.
no, that's what I'm saying. Well, next episode, episode 10, could be that, and I hope it isn't because, no. We don't know if there's a fifth season yet or not, so.
Exactly right.
Pass.
I think they know that the show's probably only has a life of 4 or 5 seasons, so it's not like like Homer Simpson of The Simpsons where it goes on for 32 years. That's not happening.
Yeah, the viewing figures will go down eventually, and then stop making it. Right, okay, so we'll kick off here. There's plenty of content because, like I say, it was closer to half an hour this episode. This is very Mariner-centric episode, this one, which I don't mind because I like Mariner.
Yeah.
They are on another away mission, of course they are. And there's a bit of a scare. They've got these nasty-looking bug things. They'd put some comedy into this, of naturally Lord Deck style. That literally, if they bite you, they'll kill you. Like the venomous little things that destroy you.
They make your eyes bug out. They said
You don't see that, thankfully, but it happens. Boimler, Mariner, and Tuvin are doing their thing. In fact, I think Tendery was there as well, which is certainly later on.
Yeah.
But we notice Mariner recently. And do you want to know something great? I didn't actually notice this as much until this episode, until they pointed it out, because I thought Mariner was always a little bit nuts anyway in Gung Ho, but she is literally, at the start of this episode, going a bit nuts as well. The force field round this research facility that they're on fails, and the bugs start going for everyone, but Mariner's like, no, it's fine, I'll go and save the day, and she runs out to where the force field generator thing is and repairs it, kicking these bugs away and just being a hero.
The thing that was funnier though is they all are getting in their suits so they can be protected from the bug bites, but she doesn't wear one. It goes right out into the open.
She doesn't care, man. She's got no fear, which is Mariner and a normal day, to be fair. So this is why I didn't really see the going off the rails thing at this stage, Gray.
But if you think about it, we did a review. I don't know how far back. I think it was at least 4 episodes, and you and I kind of touched on it, but we weren't really being 100% serious. But you and I were both touched on it and said something like, "Is she like got some kind of death wish thing going on here?" And little do we know that that's pretty much what's going on.
Kind of, she does. Yeah, she kind of does. But she does save the day. No surprises there. She gets the force field up just in time. And then we start learning a little bit more of what's going on with Mariner. She has been going off the rails ever since that episode with the Ferengi, when they're on Ferenginar. And she's literally been trying to get herself killed. Captain Freeman gets the lieutenant? What's a lieutenant? Lieutenant
Close
junior
enough.
grades. It's a special grade of
Yes,
lieutenant.
that's right.
Lieutenant junior grades. She gets them into like a ready room. I'm thinking they're in trouble at this time because it's them. But she's just concerned like what's going on with my daughter. You're our friends. What the hell is going on? Why she got a death wish? As Gray just said. And then I found it amusing, Gray, that she mentioned something about she tried to fight what she thought was Borg recently, but it turned out it was space debris.
Exactly, like a pile of junk, and she goes after it.
Yeah,
Right there, it tells you she's like definitely got some screws loose. So
yeah, just a little
I
bit.
kind of mentioned that as we come up here. I mean, this is the part I don't understand. I'm having a problem this season. You and I both have the same problem of what we have coined cartoon logic, where sometimes the
That's
cartoon
your
logic.
saying, but I agree with you.
No, I understand. I'll take full credit. That's great. But cartoon logic is okay on some things in lower decks, but they try to straddle the difference or the balance between cartoon logic, maybe real logic, maybe something in between.
Yeah.
And I think it really is throwing the balance of the show off, especially this season.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there thinking about it, right? Okay, so you've realized now that Mariner's been doing this for some time now. So if she has a screw loose and you've been noticing this and the mom knows it, I mean, first of all, the mom noticing it should be enough right there. But I guarantee under relatively normal conditions, she would have been noticed sooner. They even mention at one point that I forget his name, the bird psychologist or whatever.
Dr. Miglimo.
Miggly Moo, yeah, whatever. And
Yeah.
they mentioned something about that she's been to see him and it hasn't done any good. Okay, so now you're saying you knew something was wrong. She's been seeing Meglamoo, but they keep her on duty even though she's a danger to herself. And I'm like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
how is that? How is that even close to being possible? And
Cartoon
I go,
logic.
yeah, cartoon logic once
It
again.
has
And
to
I'm
be.
like,
In
but I
fact,
mean, this is getting ridiculous now. It's like a crutch, Oh, let's do this because
Great.
we can get away with it. 'cause
they
it's
would do
cartoon
that.
logic.
They would do that in a normal episode of non-animation, normal Star Trek. They would do something like that, especially in modern Trek. They would do something like that and not explain it. Whereas, obviously, Terry Matalas, for the most part, puts in the quick one-liner to explain when something's
Right, exactly.
gone awry. So
what we're saying is Lower Decks is suffering from the same disease as some of the other Star Trek shows, where they either don't write the reason or they just blow it off as cartoon logic and then get away with it. I don't have a problem with some cartoon logic because it is a comedy, I guess, after all. But it's getting to really be ridiculous now. They just do stuff and just totally, cartoon logic, write it off. Like, that's just too much, man.
is it Kurtzman? Is it a Kurtzman show? Alex Kurtzman show? This one?
I mean, originally, yeah. So I guess that's maybe part of the reason.
Yeah. The less we say about that, the better. I hate that man. Yeah. Okay. So, very relevant point, actually. I thought, Gray. There has new intel is arised. Finally, we're getting somewhere with this mysterious ship that's wrecking things. It's been wrecking, stroke beaming them up. We find out kind of slowly but surely what's going on with that. It's this same ship or entity or person behind it is now targeting ex-Starfleet personnel. And there's like obviously the A plot and there's the B plot, and the Cerritos' job is to find these people and escort them back. But their particular person that they're going to be looking after is, and we'll get to that in a moment, is a guy called Locarno, right? And there is more to him. He's popped up before. But they come up with the names on the screen. And this is the bit I love about... This was comical, but more in the surreal way that you knew these people would never come on the show, or probably
Right.
not come on the show. They can't afford it, but they're going to tease you with it anyway. And it comes up the screen. There's like 4 people or something, 5 people.
Yeah, 4 names.
7 of 9, Beverly Crusher, Thomas Riker, who, yes, that's a very good. I hope that was not for my benefit, Gray, and for the people's benefit. Yes, Will's doppelganger, who I love.
Right.
Brilliant. That episode where he steals the Defiant on Deep Space Nine. Mwah. And again, why is it great? Because the Defiant's in it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There he is. He's sick of it. Look, it's behind me. It's the best
Wait,
starship that
cartoon
ever
logic.
existed. The best
Cartoon logic.
starship. Cartoon logic. Oh, animated Defiant. No, we did see that. So
Well, they did make mention when they talked to the these names. They're going. They're instantly thinking like, "Wow, we're gonna escort 7 of 9 and Beverly Crusher." And they go, "No, we're just going after Nick, the Enterprise or whatever they said is going to get the other ones." And they're like, "Oh,
deflated.
man." That was the end of. See, now that's where Lower Deck shines when they do certain things like that.
Yeah.
That's one of some of their strong points. That and the really great one-liners, and of course Dr. Cat, because she's the best. So but there wasn't enough of that stuff in this episode. But we'll move on.
So tell us about Locarno then, Gray. He is actually a person from the Next Generation. You found out.
Yeah, this was kind of funny because for some reason I just was wondering, like, did they make this name up, or because they were name dropping, is it a real person? I don't recall any of this, and I'm sitting there going like, okay. So I go look it up, and sure enough, apparently there was an episode called the First Duty, the Next Generation Season 5, Episode 19. So to give you a quickie, Picard has to deliver the news to Dr. Crusher that her son Wesley's Nova Squadron has had an accident during the Saturn maneuvers, in which his teammate Josh Albert was killed. The official investigation he is part of soon discovers that Nicholas Locarno's team is trying to cover up what really happened. Eventually, Picard arrives and informs Wesley that Locarno has been expelled. Wesley thinks they should have all been expelled, and Picard tells them they very nearly were, but were saved when Locarno took full responsibility for the incident and the cover-up to keep everyone else safe in Starfleet. So there's the Locarno. It's the same Locarno that is apparently popping up in Lower Decks. Now, how he gets into this position, you got me.
I don't know if it's the same. I don't know if it's the same character that voices him, because you do hear him later on. Interesting.
Yeah, that I don't know, but it doesn't even make sense to me now that I've actually read that to everybody. I'm like, wait a minute. So what happened? This guy just went off the deep end. He wasn't a villain to begin with, and now all of a sudden he's become some kind of super villain.
We don't know. We still don't know he's actually a villain until the end of the next week's episode. There may be. This is the whole point of paying off the ship, wrecking things and beaming things up and whatnot, because there may be something that we go, okay, wow, thank you, that was worth waiting 10 weeks for. We don't know. But
I have my opinion about that, but we'll say that later.
Yes, okay. So when we're going through those 4 names, obviously we were going to get. I was like, there was a small part of me that was hoping we would get 7 of 9, because Jerry Ryan. Oh,
yeah, it would have been cool to see a little something.
But we've seen Jerry Ryan recently. We've seen, we've seen 7 of 9 recently. We've seen Beverly Crusher recently. So, and we've seen Riker recently as well. Okay, not Will, but not Tom, but Tom. It is Tom. No, yeah, Thomas.
What?
But I'm thinking actually when I'm reading through those names, Gray, that ex-Starfleet. So this was the time when she must have joined briefly, but she left, and then she was a Fenris Ranger. That's when Picard picks up. So I was trying to get the timeline correct, if that makes sense. So I was like, ex-Starfleet? Was she ever in Starfleet until Picard season 3? Yes, she was briefly. But yeah, anyway, sorry. So what I found amusing here is the kind of, on paper, the cool mission is the Cerritos going to find Locarno, right, escort him back to safety, while the junior lower grades are going to well, actually, a couple of them, they're going to distract Mariner, and they've got a bit of a crap mission, but they're trying to big it up as being dangerous, and that's to repair a weather station, relay station, and they have to repair that. It's round this planet that's electrical storms is the best way of describing that, Gray, I think.
Yeah.
Like a bit of a hellhole. Yep. You wouldn't. It's not like Riza. You wouldn't want to go there on your holiday. And they try to convince her it's dangerous. You know, there's electrical storms on this planet, and anything could happen. And Mariner's like, oh yes, great, danger. She's a couple of dilithium crystals short of a warp core, safe to say. And as they're repairing the station, you see it pans to some Klingons on a bird of prey. You don't know it's a bird of prey initially, but they must be cloaked or sitting far back watching what's going on in this weather station getting repaired. And I'm like, oh, Klingons, yes. And there's going to be a bird of prey, and give me that any day of the week. The bird of prey decloaks as they go back into their shuttle and literally, destroys the shuttlecraft into smithereens, but they manage to emergency beam out of the shuttle, and the emergency beam out takes them to beams them out to the safest available place close by. If there isn't a planet, they're screwed. That happens to be a planet.
Floating around in space.
Yeah, beamed into space, you're dead in 15 seconds. But no,
maybe a minute.
A minute, yeah, but you'd lose consciousness.
Consciousness, yes.
English is a problem today. It's a massive problem. They would just be gone in 15 seconds. They'd be sleeping, and then they'd be dead. But the planet's nearby. They're beamed to that planet, and then things start to get a little bit interesting.
I don't know. I think the whole thing was very bizarre. Why was the Klingon shooting at the shuttle? We never get an explanation.
Yes, we do. I can't say just now why, because that'd spoil the rest of the review. We do at the very end.
All right, so maybe I didn't catch on that one.
They're in cahoots with someone.
Okay.
So, they beam out just in the nick of time. They're safe. The ship that's beaming everything up and capturing everyone, it seems to be that at least the personnel, because the ships disappear as well. It's as if it teleports everything in its vicinity up, and that's some technology to do that. I've never seen anything like that in Star Trek. Well, I have, but not from the Federation.
Right.
And it takes everyone and puts it on this planet. So they're all on this planet, and there's different kinds of you see everyone that's been beamed up. You see the Romulans, you see the Orions. Who else is in there? You see the Binars, the Klingons are there as well.
Cardassians, you see.
Cardassians. Anyone else I missed out?
What else? I'm trying to think. I think there's another one or two we're missing. But yeah, they had quite a few.
There's several
Romulans and other people.
Ferengi,
right?
Yeah. So I'm thinking at this stage, things are getting a little bit interesting, but you're not so convinced, Gray.
Nah, it's just I don't know.
You're getting some answers slowly but surely. They're all on the planet now.
I don't know if I'm getting any answers. Yeah, they're on the planet. That's fine, but I don't even know if I agreed with how they got there to begin with. And the way they presented it when this strange ship showed up and it vaporized everything, you saw the people getting vaporized. You saw them getting vaporized. And yet, apparently, they're on the planet.
Well,
so how does that work?
They're obviously, it looks like it, but maybe that's just how the technology works.
Dude, there was some where they look like they got fried. I mean, come on. Go back and look at some of those episodes.
I know, I do remember, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, would you fry some and transport the others?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Select to fry up. Yeah.
It's kind of like what you and I said before. They're coming to a conclusion, and I just, so far, I'm not impressed with how they're coming along with this.
I reckon we're going to be disappointed in the last episode. I don't think it'll be awful, but I think it'll be another 7 out of 10 or something. That's what I think.
Yeah, you're gonna be waiting for this grand payoff, and it's gonna be kind of like,
I'm not saying disappointed, but this has been hyped up so much that you're expecting something amazing, and it'll just be another villain of the week type thing.
Right, right.
So we're calling it, people. We'll see. But no, fair enough. Your logic is on point. Is always great. Your
I
man.
should grow point. Here, wait.
Oh
Do I have
God,
pointed ears?
you can't afford that makeup artist.
No,
That
I'll just tape them.
Prosthesis. So your man Shax is back.
Yeah.
Rutherford and Freeman. They are. He's not. He doesn't have a lot to do in this episode, Shax, in terms of lines and whatnot, which is a shame. But
True.
Shax, Rutherford, and Freeman are on a planet looking for Locarno, and Rutherford's randomly. This is brilliant. This is the kind of stuff you get in this episode that you don't get in any other Star Trek episode, season or series scene, and that's he's talking about pockets in his trousers. He's like, we could just put something in here, and then he puts his hands in his trousers, and he's like, oh, Captain, did you know these things actually have pockets in them? And I'm like, yes, genius. Lower Decks pointing out the stuff that's important in Star Trek. Pockets in trousers or pants is essential. Where are you going to put your futuristic iPhone? Where are you going to put your wallet? Where are you going to put your keys or your swipe card to get back into your quarters?
Man, if they have to stick stuff in pockets that tight, they're gonna have a problem getting it out, let alone trying to put it in. Can you just see it to be going like?
That stuff amuses me. I want to find out more about this stuff in Star Trek, like sonic showers and toilets, and these are the stuff that's no one talks about. But Lower Decks does.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lower Decks, and thank you, Rutherford. Pockets. Who would have thought? So, I ask here: is this the biggest reveal in Star Trek ever, Gray? He doesn't seem very convinced. I think that's probably a no.
No.
That's
funny, but
that's me being facetious,
not, you know.
people. That's
called
slapstick. Yeah, just for yeah.
Yeah.
He only found it slightly amusing. Maybe I'm just easily amused. People, what can I say?
No, I mean, well, but when you're laughing at that, and the rest of it is kind of like,
maybe I'm clutching at straws. Yes, this is true.
no, it's not really even the clutching. You're looking for and rightfully so. We're looking for the funny stuff, but we're just not getting enough of it. It's just kind of like, that's the disappointing part. But anyway.
Freeman apparently sucks at trying to get into dodgy bars for information because they are trying to be slightly. I was going to say slightly incognito, but they're wearing Starfleet uniforms the whole time. And we find out why, but they're trying to get information on Locarno's whereabouts. And this bouncer at this club will not let them in. There's a 2-hour waiting list. And he lets everyone else in apart from them. He doesn't seem to like Starfleet very much. And he keeps increasing their wait time up more and more and pissing them off. So they have to come up with another plan to try and get more information. And it's slowly but surely starts getting interest in this whole bit, because initially it was a bit dull, the information gathering for Locarno. I found the stuff on the planet, the electric planet, a lot more interesting, Gray, personally.
The only funny part I did like was the fact that they go to this one area where they know they can get black market information, and the guy who runs the bar is sitting there knows it too, and he's going like, well, we have the best black market information here. You just have to be able to buy it. And they're like, yeah, but we can't.
Yeah, they can't.
And by the way, we should mention, I won't, and we're going to say something about it later, so I won't spoil it too much, but there is this one bounty hunter character that we keep seeing every so often.
He sounds like the Brain, but he doesn't look like the Brain.
Exactly, and he has this, really scowly looking face thing, and it's like a tough guy or whatever like that.
Yeah.
Right, the helmet, and he walks right by the people or the Starfleet officers and everybody, and just walks right in. The guy says, "Yeah, you can come in." And then you hear the captain going like, "Why is that he allowed to go in and we can't go in?" And he points out, he says, "Come on, you're wearing your Starfleet uniform."
Yeah, it's blatantly obvious.
What do you think we're gonna do? Let you in? I mean,
you find out later it's actually really intelligent what they're doing. It looks dumb as hell, but later on you go, that's pretty cool. So back with the lieutenant junior grades, they basically confront Mariner about her wildness, but naturally in Mariner fashion, she shrugs it off and kind of doesn't really agree with what they're saying.
Right.
She agrees to go the long way to the monitoring station in the morning. She's kind of in a huff with them. She's in a mood. Her friends are kind of picking on her a little bit. And then they're sleeping in this little... Because they're running away from all the people on the planet that are trying to kill them. They run into this like treehouse is the best way of describing it. A massive hole in a big tree. And they're all sleeping in this tree. And they're going to go in the morning to this monitoring station in the distance because they're going to try and get a communication out to try and get rescued, blah, blah. Okay, so it sounds like a solid plan so far. That's fine. However, as Mariner's sneaking out, Boimler's dreaming, and you can hear what he's saying in his dreams, and you hear him subtly just say, "Teach me to dance, Beverly Crusher." Lord Dex one-liner. See, why is there not more of that? That's funny.
That's straight to character on Boimler. Makes sense. And stuff. So that was kind of cute.
Honestly, Jack Quaid, I love you, man. You're brilliant in The Boys, and you're absolutely brilliant in this. You're just you're meant for those two roles. So yeah, that was comical. Mariner, of course, gets into trouble. She's nothing was ever going to go smooth going off on her own without her friends, great. And
of course.
she bumps into a Klingon, but her eyes almost light up because then she starts a fight with this Klingon, and she's holding her own. She's getting her ass kicked, but she's laying the smack down on this Klingon as well, and they're having a good square go. The thing that kind of puts a ceasefire, is the best way to describe this, to their fight, is this planet is lethal. Bits of glass come from think of the biggest hailstorm in the world, but then upgrade that to actual shards of glass coming down from the
points
sky.
On them.
Yeah, and the one of them lands in Mariner, one of them lands in a Klingon. They're wounded, so they agree to a temporary ceasefire until this glass storm goes past. I'm not visiting that planet, man. That sucks. Mariner's still wanting to fight even undercover, which I found amusing. She's like, "No, that's good." Klingon's very logical though. There's no room to fight in here. We'll wait till it passes and then we'll pick up our confrontation afterwards. He's very Vulcan-esque. But the thing is, because they're stuck in there for a while, Gray, she kind of has to indirectly open up to the Klingon about what's going on, and it makes sense because this Klingon does not know her. They are enemies at this stage. What's she got to lose about opening up all her feelings to him, because she may very well kill him afterwards, or he may very well kill her afterwards. So
right.
It was kind of nice. I like this.
Yeah.
We find out some kind of logic, although it's not very good reasoning, but we find out kind of why she's going off the rails a little bit. She doesn't like promotions because, and this has been going on for a long time, the whole season at least, her friend, a good friend of hers back in the day, got a promotion while serving upon the Enterprise, to which the Klingon's ears perked up, and I thought he was going to say, "Oh yes, I've always wanted to destroy that vessel. That'd be a fine opponent, But he just says, "No, I've heard all about its exploits and the famous USS Enterprise." And her friend on this ship, when she got a promotion, it put her in harm's way, and she ended up getting killed while serving aboard the Enterprise. And Mariner does not want to be the person that, if she does get promoted, she doesn't worry about her own safety. She doesn't want to have to order any of her other friends into a dangerous situation. So that's why she's been playing up for the whole season, trying to get demoted again. Now, I can agree with your point, Gray. You can certainly give me your opinion on this as well. I agree with you because I'm not a fan. I don't think that's a good enough reason to be going as bonkers as she is.
I mean, the thing is, we've been seeing this going on slowly through the season, and you could even say that maybe even the season before. So it's something that they've been doing for a while, and then but I just feel they dragged it out way too long, because you have to be an idiot not to see that something's going on, and you and I have mentioned it before. And it just keeps happening. And then finally we get the payoff as to what happened. I kind of understand that but again, it's like, well, then you should have been mentioning this long ago and got a solution to the problem or whatever and be done with it.
Yeah.
And yet they just drag it out season after season, and then finally we get it's almost like it's anticlimactic in a way. And it's kind of like, oh, that's it. Well, why couldn't you have said that before? Instead of like making it this far. The only thing that I will say is I think the Klingon is the one that, in the next scene and stuff like that, he's the one who's actually making more sense than anybody else.
Tell us about the next scene, then. You may as well carry on and continue
Oh,
the point.
He was trying to point out to her that she felt that, or the Klingon felt that, she was doing a disservice to her friend and that she was not honoring her friend. And he would point out, in the Klingon way, what that meant. And then it starts to click. So it was getting some good advice from a Klingon, which is kind of, ironic, and then I think she even went like, wow, this is like
You see
making
it
sense. And you're a Klingon.
resolving in her head a little bit,
Right. She couldn't get it from her friends, of course, and couldn't get it from the psychologist that she saw. Couldn't get it from all the weird things.
I kind of understand that point, Gray.
Couldn't get it from her mother.
Sometimes you can confide in people you don't know. You see that in every walk of life.
But technically, that should have been the ship psychiatrist, and yet they just blow that one off.
I think they tried with
cartoon logic again.
They tried with the bird and didn't work so good.
Maybe it was bird brain logic. So
bird brain logic, yeah. So as you touched upon there, yes, the Klingon does make her see sense, and she feels a lot better about things a little bit. And Mariner returns the favor by giving the Klingon a hug, and he's horrified. He's like, what are you doing? No, Klingons do not hug. I found that amusing as hell. You can't do this. Leave me alone. I would rather fight you in combat.
Kind of reminds me of Worf when he goes, "I am not a merry man."
He wants to finish the fight with Mariner. He's wanting to move on from the hug and finish the fight and kill her. But she actually wants to work together. She says, listen, we'll be a lot more successful if we work together to getting off this planet. And the Klingon just looks confused as hell, the poor guy. He's like, what is going on here? I was just giving some advice out. I expected to kill or be killed, and now I'm friends with Starfleet.
At least the Klingon becomes their cheerleader, kind of.
Yeah, No. So Freeman, back with Freeman, Shax and Rutherford. Freeman's still trying to find out information about Locarno. She manages at this stage to get into the club eventually. And the broker that's got this information that Gray touched upon briefly, and he's going to elaborate on a moment, is actually, she thinks he's a puppet. She's like, I've seen this before. Yeah, very good. And shakes him for information. Like, I see your ruse, but he's like, I'll put me down. What are you doing? She's like, oh no, you're not a puppet. Shit. Now, Gray, I thought, looking at this, and I know you're going to tell me this in a moment, this alien, straight off, looked like one of the aliens from The Cage. And I don't think I'm incorrect there, but he is actually something else as well.
Or you were somewhat correct. Because The Cage had an aliens that did look something like this, because back then everybody making big-headed type aliens were the thing, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't exactly the same. And basically, as soon as I saw the character, I started laughing because I knew exactly who it was. And there was an episode in the original Trek. It was season 1, episode 10. It was called Corbomite Maneuver, which actually was a really good episode.
Yeah.
Where he had to bluff the fact that he had this Corbomite device, and he had to hope that he wasn't going to get Kirk and crew wasn't going to get destroyed. In any case, they find out that Baylock, when Baylock eventually invited them over to the ship. So as they go over to the ship, they come up to Baylock, which looks exactly like what you saw on Lower Decks. Everything, it looked exactly like. But in the original episode, it was a puppet. It was not the real alien, and then the real alien comes out, and it's 7-year-old Clint Howard, which is Ron Howard's brother.
Yeah, that was the guy from. Is that the guy from? What was he in recently? Star Trek wise.
No, he was in
Uh,
well, he's been in a lot of things, but
he
he
was
was
in
in
Strange New Worlds
Star
as
Wars.
was it Strange New Worlds? He was in there. He was the guy at the end in the medical tent that was
Yeah,
helping everyone. The older guy. It was him. Yeah, he's Star
yeah,
Trek
yeah.
royalty.
Clint Howard's been in a bunch of bit parts
Yeah.
in Star Trek, and he's been in Star Wars, and he's been in lots of other things. And his brother Ron Howard has written even if it was only a small part, has written him at least a small part in every movie he's ever done. So Clint Howard has been in every single movie. His brother, you just watch the movies, you'll miss him sometimes, but he is always, in the movies. But
That's
this
cool.
is technically when he first acted, Clint Howard, when he was 7 years old. Of course, the voice was not Clint. He was 7 years old, so they dubbed in the voice. But I thought that was great. That was the one thing that I really liked about the episode. When I saw that, I was just going like, oh, and it was perfect because it made sense. And then when they grabbed him and she knew it was a puppet because she's thinking back to the original, right? She's going like, oh, it's a puppet. And then you find out that he's not a puppet and he's a real alien. It was perfect.
Shaking him about like a rag doll.
Right. So now we know that going all the way back to the Cobra maneuver, that apparently that this alien decided to make a puppet after a real alien. Whereas we
Yeah.
thought it was just a puppet the whole time. So that was pretty funny.
You
That
essentially
was
answered
good.
my question, Gray, why they look like the aliens from the cage. Do you recall the alien's name from the
Yeah.
cage? I don't.
Uh,
Remember them.
God, I think I can't remember now. Theologians? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, they do look like them, and as Gray said, it was the stereotype of back then. Everyone
Yeah.
alien look big heads or green, and thankfully now the makeup department managed to do a good job of Star Trek aliens going forwards to make them look a lot more believable, I guess.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like Star Wars just makes them look absolutely batshit crazy. Star Wars aliens, I'm like, nah, I'm sorry. That's why that's fantasy, and we've got science fiction over here, because that's slightly more believable. And most human beings, or most aliens, are bipedal and have got some resemblance to human beings. Makes sense. Anyway, sorry, I'm
So,
getting on a serious tangent now.
no, it's okay. Because to be honest, the first time I saw that episode, I was like, what? I was like 10 years old. And when that alien came on the screen, he was scary.
Oh yeah,
So I'm
oh
sitting there
yeah.
going,
They done
he's
a
got
good
these
job.
weird looking eyes. It didn't look, it was just like, ooh, this guy's like Creepsville.
They were like
And,
beady eyes, yeah. I think back and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's horrible, man. Freaky.
yeah, the one in the TOS is definitely much more creepier
Oh,
than when you see
100%.
the
No, that's
actual.
the one I meant.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
They done such a good job, considering that's back in the 60s, and prosthetics and makeup and all that was not as good back then. They done a cracking job.
Yeah, not like the Gorn that they did later. Even though I
Well,
did enjoy the
that
episode
was
when I
ridiculous.
saw
The
it.
amount they could do a good job in makeup. They must have ran out of money, man. That was pathetic, even by that standards.
They had the suit fine from the neck down, but when it came from the neck up, yeah, that wasn't working.
Yeah, so back on the Storm Planet,
Mhm.
there is a big fight between all the captured alien species. It's like an alien species WWE Royal Rumble, right? With the winner going to WrestleMania, naturally.
Yeah,
Instead of fighting, surprisingly, I thought Mariner, when she rocked up with the Klingon, is going to get involved in this Royal Rumble and secure her entry to WrestleMania, but no, she didn't. She uses her diplomatic skills. Surprise! We forget she actually
yeah,
has them. She is her mother's daughter, to talk them down. The usual, we've got more in common and we don't have in common, and blah blah blah, and Starfleet this, the usual.
yeah.
And it kind of works. She wants them to work together, and she
Right.
refuses to fight. Most of them are agreeing to work together, but I can't remember who goes for her in the end. I can't remember what alien species it was that goes for her, but someone tries to kill her and goes, "Nah, I'm not working with you." However, just in time, Tendi appears. It's the Ryan, yeah.
Yeah,
Tendi
the Orions.
appears and stops the Ryan from killing Mariner, because remember, she's some big high Hegian important person
Right.
back on her home planet, and she goes, "Stop!" And the Ryan is just like, "Yeah, sorry, boss.
They're all
Yeah,
going like, high priestess of the blah 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 blah
I
blah.
didn't
And they're all
realize who
like,
you were. And yeah, sorry, no problem." So Tendi, the Dark Horse, more and more about her surprises me as we go on. Actually, such a quiet, bubbly, sweet character. It's a badass, really.
And
So
she has to be.
she has to be. Then all of a sudden, Mariner is actually transported off the planet. We don't know that at the time, but she's teleported. She's transported. Boom, gone. It's the same beam effect that's been beaming up all those other ships prior as well. So,
Right.
I put Phillips here. I meant to say Billups. Phillips. Lol.
Oh, yeah, I didn't catch that one. Sorry.
But no, don't change it. No, never do that. No, Billups was the guy the whole time that it turns out that was in that weird outfit with the kind of helmet and made
Bounty
him
hunter.
sound like Bream,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
wasn't Bream. He takes it off. I'm like, shit, I didn't see that coming. It's Billups. What? That guy? But
I
here
thought
we
that
go.
was great. Just simple
Yeah.
costume. He walks
didn't
in,
see it.
walks out. It's the
But
information.
this is the whole point of this is the good point we're going to bring up here. Why initially that whole point with them trying to get into the nightclub and get information and they're not getting it, and it seemed like they were amateurs at that, great, and I was thinking something's not right and or it's dull, it's bad writing. However, here's the smart part. The reason he done that is because Freeman is trying to prove that a lot of alien species have a bias against Starfleet, and she uses that bias against them by blatantly keeping the uniforms on as a distraction and to call out their bias, while Billups in this alien outfit goes waltzing in with the cash to get the information from the broker, and she's proven right. So that was thinking that's cool.
Smart.
Well done.
She was smart. Yeah.
Smart. She's a smart cookie.
Good thing. The good thing is there was no cartoon logic right there. It all made sense.
It was
like
normal
real
logic.
Right.
So yeah, I did like that. Well done, writers, for that one, because otherwise I was calling you out for sure. So the going to and fro back in the storm planet, the bird of prey that's been floating about nearby detects the distress call from this place that all the aliens have met up in, from this relay station, and wants to put the kibosh on it because, as we find out later, Gray, they're in cahoots with this ship that's beaming everything up. That's why they're around. And it blows up the monitoring station. But then this is where this isn't even cartoon logic. This is batshit crazy, and I want Gray's opinion on this as well when I get to the end of this part. But the alien cohort, they jump the ship, literally jump the ship. It's in a kind of canyon thing, you know, the bird of prey, and they all jump from a ravine type thing onto the top of the bird of prey, and then they start literally putting their hands into little seams in the hull plating and actually lifting up bits of the hull. And I'm thinking, Gray, when did Star Trek and the Avengers with the Hulk ever do a crossover?
Exactly.
What the hell? Is that cartoon
they
logic?
could have. Apparently, a cartoon logic strikes once again. They could have at least had a character that was,
Super
like the Hulk
strong,
or
yeah.
strong or whatever. But they didn't. In fact, I think there was more than one of them that were peeling it, and I'm like, what are they all Hulks now?
I couldn't do that with my strength with normal metal in this day and age. Nowhere near it. So think of the alloys and the transparent aluminum, as they call it later on.
I could do it. The aluminum rolls. I could peel those back.
I'm sure you do for your sandwiches all the time.
Yeah.
But this is batshit crazy. I'm sorry. That's just nah. Some common sense, guys. Come on. Gray mentions it's gone wacko at this point. Yeah, it really has.
Definitely.
It's too far fetched. But anyway, I'm saying the bird of prey is old. It's an old ship, but I didn't know it was that weak. Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, that's had to be really old.
It handles space just fine, but a bunch of angry aliens trying to get in, no problem. So they get in through the top. So quick, get to
through the top.
Through the
It was
top,
even
naturally.
crazier. You're peeling it back and
right into the bridge. Right into the bridge.
Yeah, into the bridge. Of
Convenient.
course, that makes all. Yeah.
And obviously the Klingon captain's a small bit of logic here. Quick, take us to orbit. Let's suffocate the SOBs. Right? Okay, that makes sense. But the gang quickly subdue the crew and take control of the ship. Right? Okay, fair enough. Freeman, back with Freeman. Freeman Cole find the schematics on that random ship as they enter where they finally think Locarno's holding up. Locarno's not there though, right? Is what we'll find out. But we do find out where he is. Mariner wakes up from her beamage, and she's on the random alien ship, right? And she wakes up, she's looking about, and she says, "What in the minimalistic hell?" And she's kind of right, because it's literally, there's next to nothing in this room. It is very minimal. I found that slight.
Yeah, I think they had like one table, and there's like no walls, no shelves,
one
no
little
nothing.
flower vase thing,
Yeah.
and that's it. Yeah, so she's literally about to walk out the door to this room here, and she's confronted with someone, and that someone is Locarno. She recognizes him. He recognizes her. And she's like, "What the hell, Locarno?" Or, "What the hell, Nick?" And then he says, "We're going to cause some trouble together." So I'm thinking he knows what she's like, and she's the perfect partner in crime for whatever plans he's got, because she's batshit crazy and wants to kill herself. But he doesn't know she's calmed down since this episode a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see where we're going. But I touched on this before, Gray. I mentioned it to you before. Mm-hmm. Unless the finale has something amazing with Locarno's plan, then it's just going to be a letdown for me.
I mean, to me, it's already a letdown. So they're gonna have to come up with something really good, and I don't.
And not the Borg for once. Please leave them alone.
Not the Borg, right? So I don't know. I have no idea. I just got this funny feeling they're gonna be throwing more cartoon logic all over the place in the last one, and you'll be going like scratching your head, going like, "What?
Say what?"
We'll see.
Yeah, mate.
We'll see.
I know. So with that, what did you give this a score out of 10, and why?
I mean, I gave it a 7 out of 10, which seems to be off the common that we give that one out.
That's an okay episode, that's why.
Yeah, but the only reason I even was that kind is because I like the throwbacks, especially Baylock and Corporate Maneuver and stuff.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of other redeeming things about it, so I went ahead and did that. But that's about as far as I'm going to go, being kind, because if I think if some of that wasn't in there, I might have gone 6. You know, but because some of that was in there and it was decent, I kind of figured, all right, 7's cool.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Great. And like we both have been complaining for a while now, even though there was some funny stuff in it, it was more of the chuckle kind of funny again.
Yeah.
And you can't just go a whole episode of Lower Decks going, yeah, I mean, there's got to be something funny.
I want laugh out loud moments, and I used to get that with Lower Decks.
Right.
You know.
Right. We're getting far fewer of that now, which is like crazy.
So I'm the same as Gray. I gave it a 7 out of 10, and I was considering giving it less, like a 6.5 or a 6, but I was being generous too. I literally say, and I'm going to literally just quote exactly what I wrote down. I don't know what to say here. Really, it's another okay episode, and it wasn't that funny. Sorry if that sounds a bit minimalistic, hell, but it kind of literally hits the nail on the head. It was,
pretty much.
I don't know what else to mention there. It was just a bit meh, okay, and that's kind of a shame. I want it to be better. Even if the finale is great, it's still, you know, the amount of average or poor episodes this season have give this season an overall lower average grade because of the poor mediocrity we've had beforehand. So we'll see. We'll
have to if we end up doing a special, which I think we should try to do. We'll go back on some of these episodes and see what ratings we gave. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's 4 seasons in, 1 episode left, and really all I can say is for the 4 seasons is 7 out of 10. I mean, on average, and I mean, I can't really go any higher. You have your redeeming episodes, but there's also some episodes that are just eh. And then there's some bad ones, you know, as well. So overall, so far, I would just give the complete run from 1 through 4 seasons 7 at best. You know.
Yeah. Okay. But before we head off, just to mention as well, we 2 days ago, recorded a new episode of Gray's podcast, GGR.
Gray's Green
Room. Yeah, we're back. We had a lot to talk about, and it was a good chat, stroke complaint, stroke chuckle throughout the 2 hours. and Gray will be getting that out very shortly. So keep an eye on that, please. You can get Gray's Green Room, of course, on YouTube and on the podcast platforms as well, or you can use the link below as well. Yeah, that works as well. Well, actually, no, there is a link for Nick's one, not for yours, because I'll tweak that, change that. But yeah, so yeah, please give that a listen as well, because it's all entertainment stuff, Marvel, DC, sci-fi, current movies as well, not all just sci-fi stuff. And
we don't use cartoon logic.
We don't use cartoon logic. We just use logic. And yeah, of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can get us on YouTube podcasts and platforms, and vice versa as well. And last but not least, if you want to come and join our Discord, which covers a lot of stuff, including the Trekway conversations we have, including Gray's Green Room for entertainment stuff, TV, movie, or gaming, because we do a gaming podcast with our friend Nick, then there is a link below for his Discord and his YouTube, extremepc.co.uk. So with that, thank you for tuning in, people. We'll see you next week for finale, and for now, do your thing, Mr. Gray.
Live long and prosper, everybody.
Bye. Bye.